Hello dear students, welcome back. Today we will start our lesson by studying preferences. We will be talking about making a choice between two things or just our general preferences. We will start with prefer. We can use prefer in so many ways. And the first way is we use prefer before a noun. Not a clause, not a verb, but before a noun. And what it means is that it expresses a preference in a particular situation. So we can say particular preference. For example, I prefer stay. I prefer water. The waiter may ask you, or waitress, what would you prefer? As a question at restaurants. What would you prefer from the menu? And you can answer with, I prefer water. Or you can say, she prefers sleeping. Now you may ask, we were using nouns, why did we use a verb ing? But as you may remember, we use this form, verb ing form, without a subject and without using as a verb. It is practically a noun. She prefers sleeping. You can see sleeping in the sentence as a noun. And then our second usage is prefer verb ing to verb ing. And in this usage, we are expressing general preferences. Let's give an example. Ted prefers scuba diving to swimming. Let's go in deep with this example. Ted prefers. My subject in the sentence is Ted. It's a he. And that's why I added s at the end of the verb, because the tense of this sentence is present simple. And after I used prefer, I put what Ted prefers. We can understand that Ted's choice is scuba diving. And then we add to, and we will compare his choice to what he didn't choose. And after to, I put the thing that Ted didn't prefer. And I also used it as a verb ing. Actually, this is pretty similar, our first usage when we use prefer before a noun, because in our last example, I said that making a verb ing form is basically making it a noun. We also have that in Turkish. But the important thing is we don't have subject, we don't have full sentence, we just have a verb ing form. And it makes it a noun. Let's do another example. For example, I prefer going concerts to going theater. There are two things that we will be examining in this sentence. The first one is, again, after my verb prefer, I put the thing that I choose. This is my choice, going to concerts. And then I use to, and then the action or noun, whatever, that we didn't choose, that the subject didn't choose. And again, it's in verb ing form. But, for example, as in this example, we can have two same verb ing, or it doesn't matter. And when we have something like that, when we're comparing objects but not verbs, I can also write this sentence like this. I prefer going concerts to theater. I omitted, I reducted the second verb ing, because I don't have to use the same verb again, because I'm not comparing the verbs, instead I'm comparing objects. The verb is the same, the verb ing is the same, so I omitted, I reduced the verb ing from the second choice. This is way more practical. And our next example, he prefers playing volleyball to football. We did the same thing in this example as well, because as you can see, playing volleyball and playing football are verb ing forms in these two choices. And I omitted, actually there was a playing, but I omitted it because it's the same verb ing, it's the same verb, and I don't have to use it again. After prefer, this is in present simple tense, that's why I added s at the end of the verb, because the subject is he, and I put the thing he chose. To, and the second choice that he didn't make. And I omitted the verb ing actually. Our last example, we prefer going mountain to seaside. In this example, as you can see, our subject is we. That's why I used prefer, verb 1, base form. And the thing that we chose, the thing that the subject has chosen, we put it first. I used verb ing, and then after to, I omitted second verb ing because it's the exact same verb ing form with the first verb, and I put the object that I'm comparing at last. Now our last use of prefer plus to plus verb 1 rather than verb 1. And in this use, we are expressing general preferences. For example, many prefers to travel by plane rather than by car. In this example, let's go in depth. Our subject is many. Actually, what we're talking about on subject is that many people. But we can shorten it and we can say many. And then we used our verb of our sentence and our full infinitive form, which is to verb 1, and then the thing that the subject has chosen. After the thing that subject has chosen, we put rather than, and we are missing a verb 1 after rather than, because as we have studied just before, we have the same verb, travel. And since they are the same, I don't have to write it or use it again. I can just say by car, because again, I'm not comparing verbs. Instead, I'm comparing objects. So that's why I omitted the verb form. For example, she prefers to spend time with her family rather than work. Okay, that's it. Our subject is she, that's why I added as. This is how we use if we want to use verb 1 after prefer, we have to add to, which is here full infinitive. And then spending time with her family is the first choice and the choice that she actually made. And then we use rather than. This time our verb is different, and in this example we are comparing, we are choosing between verbs. That's why you can see the actual verb here, because we're not comparing, we're not making a choice between objects, but between verbs. One more example. I prefer drink coffee rather than, rather than tea. The subject is I put prefer to verb 1, full infinitive. And then I have an object, and obviously I am comparing the objects, the nouns actually, because as you can see after rather than, you can see a verb form. That's how we understand the verbs are the same, but we are comparing nouns slash objects. That's why it's omitted. Now let's jump into would prefer. We can use would prefer in sentence before, again, full infinitive, and after that, rather than, again, verb 1. And we want to express particular preferences. Actually, the grammatic rule is kind of same with the last one that we have studied. We only added would actually, and after that it's all the same. Let's make an example. I would prefer, or if I wanted to shorten it, I could write it like this. I would prefer to go out for dinner rather than stay at home. Let's see. I would prefer to go out for dinner rather than stay at home. I am making a particular, a specific preference. It's not a general choice that I make. I used would prefer, and after that I used to plus verb 1, which is full infinitive. And after rather than, I can see a verb 1, bare infinitive. So it tells me that I'm not comparing nouns slash subjects, rather I am comparing or choosing from actions. And the choice that I made is to go out for dinner. For example, another example, would you prefer to have lemonade or milkshake? I can answer this question like this. I would, or I can write it like this, use it like this. I'd prefer to have lemonade, for example. Or I can just leave it like this, or I can continue the sentence. I would prefer to have lemonade rather than milkshake. Since the action, the verb, is the same, I omitted have, verb have, from here, and I just put milkshake, our second choice. Normally, I love horror movies But today, I would prefer to watch comedy rather than horror. We are making a choice in a specific situation, a particular situation. Normally, I love horror movies, but today I would prefer to watch comedy rather than horror. Again, our action, our verb is the same. That's why you can't see watch after rather than. If you want to, you can use it. It's okay. They are both correct, but it is easier and more convenient. Now, we have two more uses to express making choices, preferences. Our next one is would rather. And after would rather, we use bare infinitive, which is verb 1. And we are using this to express particular preferences. Let's start with our example. I would rather go Ibiza this year. What you can understand is that it's not a choice that I usually make, but this year I want to go Ibiza. It's not always, but it's an exception, if you will. She would rather go home. She is tired. Again, we're talking about a specific situation. She's tired and she would rather go home. Or I could say, she would not rather go with us, for example. We're talking about an exception, not a general preference. It's just a particular situation preference. For example, we would rather have a table with view. For example, you are in a restaurant, you will sit at a table and you say to the waiter or waitress that we would rather have a table with view. You are making a choice at a particular situation. After would rather, I put verb 1, bare infinitive. And I'm not comparing anything. I'm not making a choice between two things. I'm just expressing my choice in a particular situation. I would rather walk alone. Again, I'm not making a general preference. I'm talking about something that I am choosing now. I am choosing to walk alone, but it's not my general choice. It's just for now. For example, do you want to eat meatballs? Someone asks you and you say, I would rather eat pasta. Someone asks you if you want to do this choice, if you want to eat meatballs, and you say, no, I would rather eat pasta. It is just for now. For today, for this moment, I am choosing pasta. And our last use, would rather, bare infinitive, then bare infinitive. And we use this one both in particular and general situations. He would rather work overtime on weekdays than work on weekends. Now let's have a look at this sentence. I put would rather after the subject. It doesn't change, it doesn't form according to the subject. It's always the same, would rather. And after that, I used bare infinitive, verb 1. And what I'm actually making a choice from two things is that an object, not an action, because in both choices we have the verb work. So I could omit this. I could just say then on weekends. They are both correct. And after the thing that he chose, the subject has chosen, I used, sorry, till here, I used then. And after then, I put to the sentence, at the end of the sentence, the thing that the subject didn't choose. She would rather come with us than sit here. I have two different actions that I'm choosing from. Our subject is she. It doesn't matter. We always use would rather and it doesn't change according to the subject. And after that, verb 1, which is bare infinitive, and the thing that subject has chosen. After then, and then the second choice that the subject didn't choose. We would rather stay at an expensive hotel than a cheap one. Now let's have a look at this one. Again, it doesn't change. After subject, we use would rather. And after that, verb 1, bare infinitive. And the thing that subject has chosen is to stay at an expensive hotel. And after that, I used then. And the second choice. But the subject didn't choose it. Now, you cannot see a verb 1 here. Because we can understand that the verbs are the same. It's both stay. And I omitted that. I don't have to use it again. But here, I am choosing from actually the hotels, the quality of hotels. So I also omitted hotel and I used one instead because after reading this till here, we can understand what one refers to. And I'm comparing if they are cheap or expensive. Now, let's do a review, and then we will continue with quantifiers. Okay, we started with prefer. The first use of prefer is using it before a noun or a verb ing. And it expresses preference used in a particular situation, in a temporary situation. It's not our general choice. And we gave examples. I prefer water. It's not my general preference, but I choose it now. What would you prefer from the menu? I could just say, what do you prefer in this particular example? And the answer may be this. She prefers sleeping. We studied that when there is no subject. And you can see verb ing, if you can see verb ing, it is a noun, not a full sentence. Don't forget that, it will be very useful for you. And the second use is to using with verb ing. Prefer verb ing, to, and then verb ing. And we use this to express our general preferences that we always choose. Ted prefers scuba diving to swimming. It's his go-to choice. We used what the subject has chosen to and the option that he didn't prefer. I prefer going concert to going theater. We said that if the action, the verb, is the same, we omit the second one. You don't have to, but it's way more easy. After to, you can just put what the choice is, what the second choice is. He prefers playing volleyball to football. Again, our action slash verb is the same, which is playing. So we omitted here after to, playing. We prefer going mountain to seaside. Again, I'm not comparing actions, I'm comparing objects. And our third use was prefer full infinitive rather than bare infinitive, and we use this one to express our general preferences, our go-to choices. Many prefers to travel by plane rather than by car. Our subject many is actually stands for many people, but for short it's many. And after prefers we use full infinitive to verb 1. And then you can see that also the action slash the verb is the same in this sentence. So I'm comparing, I am making a choice from objects, which is how you travel. So the important thing is if it is by car or if it is by plane. That's why I omitted travel after rather than. And she prefers to spend time with her family rather than work. In this one, our actions are not the same. She is choosing an action from two choices. And the thing that she chose is the first one. And after the thing she chose, we use rather than and then the second option. I prefer to drink coffee rather than tea. In this one, she prefers to, okay. My choice is to drink coffee rather than tea. Our action slash verb is again the same. That's why I didn't use it. Instead, I just put the second option. And the other use is would prefer. After would prefer, we put full infinitive, which is to verb 1. Rather than and bare infinitive, which is only verb 1. And we are expressing particular preferences in this one. I would prefer to go out for dinner rather than stay at home. It doesn't have to be my always go-to choice. But in this particular case, I chose to go out for dinner and I didn't choose stay at home. Would you prefer to have lemonade or milkshake? Again, you're at a restaurant and the waiter asks you for now if you want a lemonade or milkshake and you choose one of them. The action is the same. That's why you can omit the action before the second choice. Normally, I love horror movies. It's my general liking. It's my general preference. But today, an exception, I would prefer to watch comedy rather than horror. Again, we're talking about the same verb. That's why I omitted it, which is watch. And I am actually making a choice from movie types. That's why I only wrote or used the type. And then we have would rather. After would rather, we use bare infinitive, which is verb 1. And we use it when we want to express particular references. I would rather go Ibiza this year. It's not my go-to choice, but this year I want to make a change, for example. That's why I would rather go Ibiza. She would rather go home. She's tired. I'm talking about a specific situation. That's why I used would rather and bare infinitive. We would rather have a table with view. Again, I'm talking about a specific situation. That's why I used would rather. I don't have to talk about two choices. I can only say, I am allowed to only say the thing that I chose. For example, I would rather walk alone. It's my preference for now. And then, when we want to choose from two options using would rather, after would rather we use verb 1, bare infinitive, then again bare infinitive, which is verb 1. We can express both particular or and general situations. He would rather work over on weekdays than work on weekends. It can be his general preference or for now. It can be both. And our action is again the same. So I can omit it from here and just say then weekends because I am comparing, I am choosing from a time. Weekdays or weekends, and he chose overtime on weekdays. She would rather come with us than sit here. It looks like a particular situation preference. You can understand it from the meaning, the context of the sentence. We would rather stay at an expensive hotel than a cheap one. We actually omitted two things. Not two, but kinda-ish. The action stay, verb stay, is the same. Stay at an expensive hotel or stay at a cheap hotel. It's the same. That's why I omitted. But also, I am choosing from two hotels in different qualities, in different price ranges. That's why I also don't have to say hotel again. I can only say one, and the person that I'm telling this can easily understand what I'm referring to by saying one. I can choose from these two, cheap or expensive. And now, that's it for making preferences. It's actually pretty easy. Now, we will be learning quantifiers, all, none, either, both, and neither. Let's start with all. How do we use it? When do we use it? All is used for more than two people or things. It is used in affirmative sentences, and the meaning is affirmative. Our verb is used in plural form. We are talking about something, we are talking about more than two things. If it's two, we use both, or either, or none, or neither. But when we are using all, it is used to talk about more than two or three things, people, etc. And it expresses affirmative sentence. It is used as an affirmative sentence, and the meaning is also affirmative. Let's do the examples. Amy, Kate, and Jane are going to a meeting. Now I will use all, and I will express that they are excited. I can either say all of them are excited, or they all are excited. Now, here is they are all. Let's see. I can either use it before the subject and use of, like this, all plus of plus subject, but in object pronoun form. And then what we want to mean by saying plural verb is that we always use verb as if our subject is plural, and the rest is as same as a normal sentence. Or I can use it after subject and verb, and then use it like this. Again, the verb is plural. Those 3 cats look cute. Now I want to say they're all cute, but using all. I can either say all of those cats look cute, or I can say those cats, or I can say those all cats look cute. Again, I use my verb in plural form. As you can see, I use it like this with every all pronoun. All of my relatives celebrated my birthday. I am talking about a group of people that has a number more than 3. So we're talking about people that are more than 3, and all of them celebrated my birthday. Now I want to give the same meaning, not the affirmative form, but I want to talk about 3 things or more, but I want to make it negative. I use none. And none is used for more than 2 people or things. It is used in an affirmative sentence but it gives the sentence a negative meaning. And again, in this one, I can either use singular verb or plural verb. They are both correct. You can use either of them. We said that it is used in an affirmative sentence, but it gives a negative meaning, and you can use both verb forms. All of my friends love coffee. None of them drinks or drink. They are both correct. None of them drink or drinks tea. I am talking about more than 2 people. That's why we used all and none. This is an affirmative sentence. This is a negative sentence. And it gives the meaning that they don't like tea. They don't drink tea. All of my relatives are Turkish. None of them are foreigner. I am again talking about more than 2 people. 3 or more than 3. None of my colleagues agreed with my idea. By the way, in this example, it can also be none of them is. They are both correct. We said that both singular and plural verb are okay with none. And in this example, none of my colleagues agreed with my idea. Since my verb is used in the past, it's in verb 2, I don't have to change it because it's verb 2 is applied for all of our subjects. And again, I'm talking about more than 2 people, and they didn't, none of them agreed with my idea. Kaç dakika oldu? Tamam, bitiriyorum burada. With my idea. Okay, that's it for today's lesson, guys. We will continue either, neither, none. Sorry, not none, either, neither, and both. I hope you understand and enjoyed our lesson. Take care of yourselves. See you on our next lesson.